In the beginning, there was just pain and stillness. I wasn't sure if my heart was beating. I felt nothingness surrounding me so completely, I couldn't find my breath, let alone my voice. It was cold and clammy, still and silent. No one came around. I had disappeared. It was as if some foreign epidemic had claimed me, and if they venture too near, it may get them too. It was lonely. No one called, but then I couldn't find the wind to call out. So stillness sat with me, wrapping its arms around me, and it and I waited. I don't know how long we sat holding each other before I felt the need to stretch, to release my fingers, grasping on to what had become so familiar. I sat up straighter, turned my head from side to side, testing muscles to see if they still could hold me upright. They could. I stretched further and found I remembered how long my legs were when they were pointed out in front of me. I reached up over my head, then shrank back, as if I had reached too close to God. That was asking too much. God had forgotten about me, abandoned me, and now was content to watch as bad things happened to me. I would not stretch my arms out to God. I felt he had turned his back. I sat hunched over, me and stillness, side by side, looking at the ground. There wasn't yet anything else to look at. So my eyes glazed over, resting on the space of ground I could see between my outstretched legs. I played with my fingers, ugly hands. I glanced at my thighs, flabby, just lying there, good for nothing. Who would ever see them as beautiful again? Who would want to crawl in between them? These sagging breasts, heavy on my chest, making my tired back ache more. Who would cup them in their hands and tease a devilish tongue against them? Stillness and me. Beyond despairing now, we had reached a new place of self-loathing, somewhere I had not been, not like this. I sat and tore off my flesh with my thoughts, until my bones were exposed, and the wind seemed to blow right through. The breeze seemed to hold an odor as it twisted around my skeletal remains. I imagined it yellow, and like an acid, it choked me, but I pretended not to care. Stillness didn't flinch. The gas oozed between my ribs, across my protrusions of hip and femur. I couldn't breathe. The last of the good air was gone. There were few minutes remaining. I realized, almost as the last good breaths blew out of sight, that I desperately wanted to breathe. I gasped for good air. I realized I craved it. I must have good air, not this acid filling up what was left of me. I looked over at Stillness, who seemed oblivious that anything was wrong. I tried to shout, but more of the gas got in my mouth. Words would not suffice. I looked at my legs, still just lying there. I wondered if they still worked. I asked the right one to bend. It did. I asked the left one to bend. It did. I asked my hands to steady me, my arms to help me push forward, and I wobbled onto my legs like a calf first born. I looked for my balance. It wasn't there, and I returned to the ground, jarred, but alive. I hesitated, still afraid to see if the gas was still stifling me, but the winds seemed to have blown it away. I faced Stillness now, from my spot. I watched how it sat, head off to one side, hands in a pile. I wondered how long Stillness had been with me, and before that, had it accompanied someone else? Did it travel around looking for the forlorn to sit with, so they wouldn't be alone? Weren't we alone? Wasn't I alone? What was stillness, anyway? Not a person, not drawing breath, not speaking. I was alone. Stillness looked up with holes where its eyes should have been. I felt chills worse than any storm could have endowed. Stillness looked at me as if to say, "Now you know, don't you? You've been alone the whole time." I sit. Stillness sits, but I know it won't be much longer. Stillness isn't my friend now, and the closeness of stillness to me makes me squirm. I look around, planning where I might go to get away from Stillness, who sits, my nemesis, watching intently. I shift to move, and quietly Stillness says, "Where will you go?" I want for the voice to disappear. I wish for the time when I thought Stillness couldn't speak, had no voice. Now its voice makes me recoil and look for someplace safer, where those holes in its face will not see. There doesn't seem to be a place where it doesn't know. I move, it knows. It asks, "Where now? Have you thought about how you will get to this place you think you're going, the one with no name and no way there? Will you venture out to become lost again? And what will you do then, with no one to sit with you? Stay here, where I can watch you." Stillness knows me better than I thought, better than I think, better than I... The time presses against me like a balloon filling up, and the air is getting thin once more. I know I can move this time. I don't think I will fall, but the direction is clouded. Mists cover my mind. I can't think it through. My body says jump. I say I can't see. All is blackness, and the unknown is surrounding me. Where will I land? Up, say I. Stay, say I. Stillness looks on. I swear I see a smirk cross its face. Something is rumbling. My bowels churn. My teeth grind. I set my jaw. My hands ring. My toes curl up. The nerves behind my eyes twinkle with electricity. I am on fire. I am hot. I am angry. I am boiling. I am not sitting here any longer. This is foolishness. What am I waiting for? Stillness looks on, amused. I still can't see. The thin air makes my head swim. I get to my feet. I sway and clutch, grasp nothing, and reach again. I am falling. I will fall. I take a step. I am safe, and the air is much better up here. Stillness looks on, interested now. Have you decided something? It gloats. Where are you off to? I can't see, but fear and resolution coax me. I stop again. My fear is not of what is ahead. It is of staying here. Stillness looks unworldly, an ashen gray, sickly, starved, and motionless. We are not friends. I am not its companion. I see a break in the black, a glimmer up ahead. I shuffle a pace. I stop. I strain. It has vanished. Weeping, I am beyond despair. I open my eyes. It's there again. Another step. I take. I reach. Then again. I look down at my feet, look out at my hand. I straighten. I stand. I am walking. I stop. I turn, and I look back at stillness. A back, shoulders, a head lopped to one side, a hand resting on the ground. Filling with disgust. I wait till I'm full. My cavities are brimming with a knowing that I should raise a hand and wave at the back, sitting there, for without stillness's company, I would still too be sitting there. In the ebony casement just before dawn, then the woods fall silent to listen, to hear the footsteps of the spirits who dwell in the memory, flowers, and shadows. Not only do the rivers ripple softer to hear, but also the torrents inside the wise, these also quiet and quicken, to hear and see and feel the coming of the force that makes and destroys all, as if in whim, but there are no accidents, only the path that leads to the river's edge, then stops. Here the dreamer must find the strength to cross, which will not be found in relentless questioning, but in the silence of the dreamer's soul, in the dark, beside the river, in the silence. The dreamer decides if it is the beginning or the end of the road. Articulate the meaning of the presence behind the illusion. Give a way for someone to follow the journey in terms of manifesting through creativity, using voice to formulate reality as opposed to waiting to mirror reality. The question is key. Most answers are irrelevant. The survival skill of the artist is in seeing, then creating something where previously there was nothing. The void remains mysterious only as long as it remains an unknown. Given different parameters, the void becomes a vessel. I laid with you because I thought I mattered. I had wished for you and thought that you had answered. I didn't realize until later you were just walking through. You would take with you all the parts of me I liked the best, and the least. You would leave the parts I was most ashamed of, the parts that trusted too easily, that were too naive, that believed in love and fairy tales. You took my faith when you left. You took the specialness that I used to put on, that used to rub off, that used to set me apart. When you left, I felt it was gone, and I began to hate you for that. You scalded my soul with your indifference to my pain. You looked at me but didn't see what stood in front of you. How could you not notice my beauty, my joy, my sensualness, my unusual ways that make me mysterious and familiar? How could you not be dazzled by my brilliance? How could you not feel the depth of my commitment? How could you? How could you? How could you? It was worse when the scab started to itch and peel, and I knew, truly understood how foolish I had been to rely on you. I misread you. You and your wonderful mask, so perfectly formed, created to hide and dismay. I am not good at games. I didn't know we were playing, until I sat alone on the bench, wondering where you had gone, and why so much of me went with you. I can't feel any more. I had thought I knew better. I thought I was stronger, more worldly, and wiser, but you took me in. I bought all you were selling. I didn't keep my own promises to myself. I will be so much more careful not to be trapped. It will be easy from now on. I will just remain closed. I will not hope. I will not see the good in people. I will not pretend to care. I will not extend myself. I will stay behind my boundaries. I will control what's around me. I will play the game better. I will win at all costs. I will survive. I will not love. It hurts everywhere I touch. I see it in the way my body sinks into itself, but what choice do I have now? I can only be torn so many times until the nerves break apart and cannot be repaired. I am tired beyond what I knew to be endurable. I am safest alone. It is so lonely here without someone to hold me, to rock me to sleep, to convince me of what is gentle, to persuade me that there is good, to cajole me into laughter, to make me question what I have made real, to tell me the truth, to listen as my fear cracks my voice when I ask, "Will you stay?"